Howdy, this is Melody Allen with Patriots Revival Podcast. We are at the Texas GOP Convention, and we are talking to Christine Wellborn of Advancing Integrity. Thank you, Christine, for being on Patriots Revival today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so we're at the state convention,
Yes.
and you are here for two reasons. One, I know you're a delegate, just
Yes.
like me.
Yes,
got
I
our little
am.
delegate
Yes.
badges. But you're also here because you are with an organization called Advancing Integrity.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So we are all about election integrity. So accuracy,
Amen.
transparency, and accountability. What we're focused on is all of the little ways that our elections can be stolen, our elections can be, have fraud or even human error. There's a lot of chances for human error. And so we're trying to establish best practices for counties. We're working with all 254 counties as our goal. And we just want to make sure that we are able to prosecute the bad actors and to be able to uphold the law as it's written, but also add what we can to make things more secure.
Okay, so I have a few questions for you
Sure.
related to that. So you know Senator Bob Hall, he's
Yes.
my state senator,
Yes.
and Senator Hall is all about election integrity. And Senator Hall has some ideas, some of which he's still trying to get past. Paper ballots. What is Advancing Integrity's stance on paper ballots?
So I think paper ballots should always be an option.
Okay.
So counties should be able to adopt them if they want to adopt them.
Okay.
I think the way that our election code is written right now, it makes things very difficult to do, paper ballots and hand counts and things like that. And so we would have to change a lot of our code, which I know Senator Hall wants to just throw out the code and start over, which I am not against.
Right.
Our election code is a mess.
Yep.
So I'm all for that.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a good idea. He's also for the having a scanner so you
Yep.
can get kind of that immediate answer,
Right.
but then also to be able to, do the hand count to verify. So I am for that. I just think that we do have I'm an incrementalist, so we kind of
Okay.
need to move in stages.
Yep.
And so I am for that completely, but also just all the other things like chain of custody and everything else too.
What about Senator Hall? You probably have heard he is also about eliminating that window of time from when early voting ends until election day. Because if you think about it, and you know this, I'm preaching to the choir here. If I voted early, that means between Friday, the last day of early voting, until Tuesday, my ballot's just sitting somewhere. I'm not saying anything bad is going on, but if we eliminate that period, what are your thoughts on
Yeah,
that?
so I am absolutely for that. And I would have, in fact, go even farther. So I think this year I'm going to be voting in 5 elections.
Oh, wow.
It's ridiculous.
Wow.
We need to combine the local elections with our regular elections. So
Amen.
combine them together. We call it uniform election.
Yep.
And then the election would be run as a continuous process. And we would have to follow the codes that are used for election day, not early voting, because that would allow us to do precinct-based polling.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that election day, and even if it starts off as it's 7 days or 3 days or a little bit longer, like we can talk about how long that's going to be
Sure.
and eventually make it shorter. But the idea is, yes, we do need to have one continuous voting period, all based off of the statutes for election day.
Okay. I'm going to ask you one more question too.
Sure.
So what about where you're from? And where I'm from in our county, we have countywide voting. What is that something that Advancing Integrity what do you think would be a best practice for where people cast their vote? Is it a best practice to go back to precinct voting? I'm a little torn on that because I have worked elections and see people, the looks on their faces when they're told, well, I'm sorry, this isn't your precinct, you can't vote here. And then you may lose people as they go to another location. So I'm kind of torn of, I get that if you took off work or you're on your way to work or whatever, it's like maybe you don't have time or you don't want to go to your other precinct. But I know a lot of issues can occur when you open up the possibilities of, okay, you have 32 polling places that you can go vote at. So what is your stance on precinct voting versus countywide voting?
I think we have to go back to precinct-based polling. We have to. And I think that with people not knowing where to vote, we need to be better at educating people where to vote. And I think with uniform elections, if everybody's voting every March and November, they're going to know where to go.
Yeah.
And if it's precinct based, they're going to pretty much get used to it. You're
Yeah.
going to have that, steady rhythm
Yep.
of they're going to know where to go and when to go and what to do.
Yep.
And so I think that's really important. But we saw in Tarrant County and Dallas County, when they tried to do their recounts, they had to open every single ballot box and ballot bag to go through and find the ones they needed for just one constable's race or just
wow.
one, race. And so we shouldn't have to do that. If we're precinct based, we only have to open the ones that
That's a
apply
good
to
point.
that race.
Yeah.
And so it was really difficult for them to figure out, even if they had the right number of ballots, because that's such a huge number of ballots you have to go through.
Yeah.
And it's just a crazy process.
Yeah.
So I think we really do need to go back to that precinct based.
Okay. Any final thoughts on election integrity? Well, and actually, I would like for you to tell folks how they can get in touch with you. If you have a website, what do you need from people? I think you're a new organization from what I understand.
Yes.
So how can people find you, get in touch with you, share that with us?
Yeah, so we are a new organization, but I've been doing this since 2015. But Advancing Integrity is new, and you can go to advancingintegrity.com.
Okay.
And then that's where people can find all of our resources. We've
Okay.
got Advancing Integrity with providing the resources and training and education. But we also have the Texas Election Coalition, where people all over the state are getting together on a Zoom call every week
Oh,
at Wednesdays from noon to 1. And they can all talk to each other, and we talk about a whole bunch of different issues,
okay.
and we all work together because we keep like all reinventing the wheel,
Yeah.
and it's ridiculous. We
Yeah.
need to share best practices with
And
each other,
collaborate.
and
Yep.
that's what it's all about. It's
Yep.
all about collaboration and working together.
Okay.
So, and they can find out about the coalition at advancingintegrity.com under Get Involved.
Okay. Have another question. Sorry. This
Sure,
keeps
yeah.
running. So we will be having the 89th legislative session
Yes.
in January. So if people get involved or do you have newsletter or anything like that? They
Yes,
can
so we do
subscribe
have
to
a
email?
newsletter. Yeah, you can sign
Okay.
up to a newsletter, and we put out different articles on things that are going on, news releases, press releases,
Election alerts?
election alert, yeah, action alert.
Action alerts or for when
Absolutely. So during
legislation?
legislative session, we'll be like, hey,
Yeah.
everybody call, this committee chair
Good,
or
okay.
that senator or whatever. Everybody call them and tell them that this is what you want and this is what's important.
Right.
So we'll absolutely be doing that. And we'll be keeping everyone, engaged and involved, and so that they know exactly what's happening and who to contact.
Okay, because what I was thinking is, everybody has their own issues. As the great I think you know Matt Long, the great Matt
Yes,
Long says,
yes.
well, if that's the burr under your saddle, or I like to say the hair on your biscuit or whatever, that
Mhm.
really you want to get something done, or that's really, you got to get that issue fixed. Then if folks get involved with Advancing Integrity, then they could get those alerts of when they could, hey, there's this hearing being held, and we need you to call this and that, because people are busy, and if
Yes,
that's their
yes.
issue, we want people to be able to get that notification.
Yes,
So,
and we can get people involved, engaged, and get all the resources they need.
okay, well, good deal. Any final thoughts?
All right.
Any
No,
final
just
comments?
I think the main thing is that, they'll steal the election if we let them.
Yeah.
Right. And so every one of us has to get out there and vote.
Yep.
It is so important that we have that turnout. And
Yeah.
it's so important that we just overwhelm and outvote the steal, right?
Yep.
We know they're coming for us, and we can do everything we can to keep it in place. And we just need everybody, poll watchers, poll workers, all that kind of stuff. If we all engage, they won't be able to steal it.
With the topic of poll watchers, what we say, we in our county chairs, they are always getting people asking to be poll watchers, but we try to tell them our logic is, okay, it's better, and I want your take on this, is, hey, actually work the elections, take the training to be an election judge, take the training to be a clerk, because if you're, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what's kind of preached in our county, is if you're a poll watcher, there's not really anything you can do. You can, to stop something that you see that shouldn't be occurring. But if you're an election judge or you're a clerk, you can, and something is just not going the right way. I mean, you have the power to do that correctly.
Yes,
correct.
absolutely. Yes.
So,
So you want to make sure that the roles of judge and clerk are filled first.
yes.
So as long as those are filled, Then you go in to be a poll watcher because you can be the backup. Because sometimes people will come in and try and pull some kind of shenanigans
Yeah.
and distract the judge and the election clerks. And so you can be that backup eyes and ears.
Yeah.
So you're right. It
Yeah.
is really important to fill that judge spot and those clerk spots first.
Yep.
And then you go out and get the poll watchers.
Okay. Great. All right. So
Yeah.
website again?
Advancingintegrity.com.
Okay. All right. Christine, thank you so
All right.
much. I appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of the convention.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.